She was, and she still is, UMass soccer. No one will wear number 2 again. April Cater.
On April 26th, the UMass women's soccer program retired the numbers of 2 of the top athletes in school history, April Cater and Briana Scurry.
It's very special. What an honor. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to see, former colleagues and friends and family here to celebrate. And it's great to meet the new UMass team that's here and now and working towards, a stronger tradition, hopefully. So it's always special to be back in Western Mass.
I knew I wanted to go to UMass before I even took my first official visit. And my parents are very wise. They made me take all 5. But I knew, and I think my parents knew, when my dad dropped me off at UConn, and before I even closed the door, I said, don't be late in picking me up.
At UMass, Cater was a 3-time first-team All-American. She tallied 92 points over 77 games in her college career. UMass advanced to the NCAA quarterfinals 3 times in Cater's 4 seasons in Amherst, including a trip to the national championship game her freshman year. And as a senior in 1990, she won the Herman Trophy as the nation's top female soccer player, edging out runners-up Mia Hamm and Brandy Chastain.
No number is honored or retired without the numbers that were on the field with them. And I played with some unbelievable players. Unbelievable players. I walked into a gold mine. I didn't have a lot to do with those Final Fours. I was just lucky that I got to play in one alongside so many great players that easily could be standing here with me. It wasn't about, can I be an All-American? It wasn't about, what can I do? It was about, I was so afraid of disappointing my teammates or my coaches that it was about being loyal.
Well, anytime you come into a program with UMass's history and accomplishments and success, you can't overlook that. And you have to bring that into your program. You have to blend that into your program. You have to take what they've done in the past and hope that you can accomplish some of that. And the alums are such an important part of our program, and they're here to support us. And we only hope that as we go on with the program, we can accomplish some of the things that they've done.
Following her playing career and 2 seasons as an assistant coach at UMass, Cater was named the first ever women's soccer head coach at Syracuse, a job she would hold for 8 years. She's currently head development coach for the U.S. Youth Women's National Teams.
It's been a journey, and I've loved every minute of it. As soon as I knew that my playing career was over, I wanted to be just as passionate about coaching, and I played for 2 great coaches at UMass, took a lot of information from them. That was a platform to go on to coach full-time at the college level, and I've loved it ever since.
I know the game field has changed, but in the past it was at Boyden Field, and anyone that lived in Southwest, which is the largest dorm area on campus, had to walk by our game field in order to go to class, especially if you had afternoon classes. Well, I can't tell you how many people would come up to me and say, your team hurt my GPA. Because they would be walking to class, they'd hear the whistle blow, and they would just stop and watch our team play. And they'd be like, you guys were fun. You guys were fun to watch. We just had to miss class. And that was always great to see. Huge crowd on the hill. Great athletic support here in general.
She was so passionate about the game, and she wanted her players to be just as passionate. And if you had an off day and weren't up to her level of passion that day, she was going to let you know.
You guys probably don't know, but you can sense there's like a random weird crowd here of non-UMass people. And I think you can sense that her investment in people's lives has been really felt. And a lot of these people here are former players of hers that we had the opportunity to coach together. And so she was a fierce competitor. It was my privilege to work with her. It's my privilege to know her as a friend. And so, April, thank you. We honor you tonight.
I mentioned that she was a little scary on the field. You would make a mistake, you'd look over to see what's April's reaction. We'd all get out to practice early, and everyone's like, who saw April today? How was she? How was she? I saw her at noon. She was smiling. Yes! I stopped in at 2:15. Not so good. Oh, no. And here she comes walking out to practice, and when you talk about someone who wears their heart on their sleeve, she doesn't wear it on her sleeve. She wears her heart everywhere. It's on her face. It's everything she does. And when it comes down to it, we are the players we were and the people we are today. because of how April pushed us and the camaraderie she fostered among the team.
My only wish, and because it was touched on so much, and I just said this to one of my parents, my mom, when I was sitting at the table. I said, Mom, my only regret at UMass was my haircut. Like, why did you guys ever say anything? That was my only regret, was that. But I'd do it all over again. I really would. I would sport that mullet if it took me down the same journey that it has. So.
Scurry's number 1 and Cater's number 2 will be hung up at Rudd Field on August 31st prior to the Minute Women's home opener this fall. But how did Cater end up wearing number 2?
The only 4-time All-American to play at UMass happened to wear number 5 when I arrived as a freshman, Kristen Boucher. She's the only first team 4-time All-American at UMass, and she wore number 5. Well, number 5 was my number coming into UMass. Well, certainly as a freshman, I'm not going to be like, I want that number. So Coach Bonda said, what number do you want? And I said, well, 2 is an upside down and backwards 5. So I'm going for it. That was my reasoning completely, in all honesty. And it worked because I had dyslexia as well. So it was perfect.
I think the big thing for a player is, they look at April, and I think it really hit home tonight what she accomplished. Being 3-time All-American. Not only was she an All-American, she was also a scholar athlete. So not only did she succeeded in the classroom, she succeeded on the field, and now she's in the U.S. national program. And the fact that she was the best player in the United States, it's just it's an accomplishment that a lot of players want to play Division I soccer. Only a small percentage to go on, and even a fraction of that can go on and say they were players of the year.
What it came down to is April believed in you more than you believed in yourself. And so on those days that you weren't feeling good or you didn't think you could do it or you had a hard loss, you would look at April and realize she thought you could do it. And you spent every day out there trying to prove that she was right. And it might not be until that last game of your senior year where you realize, wow, I could do it.
With the UMass Sports Network, I'm Cody Crucial.